of acknowledgement after you fire, say, 200K or 500K messages, that at least the messages have been reached to the broker and the broker is good to go, etc. So in systems like this, just make sure you are, you fail fast. Okay, so this is the last mention. This is not a really a principle on scaling systems, but this is something you see people talk about, NoSQL systems. What these systems traditionally try to solve is write scaling. Scaling of writes, especially in a high availability system, is really a hard problem to solve. So some of the most commonly used stacks are Dynamo, which came out of Amazon, Cassandra came out of Facebook, Voldemort came out of LinkedIn, and React is the open source implementation of Dynamo. So these are systems, and also you have a couple of other document stores such as Couch and Mongo and Redis. They are, they are clubbed under the NoSQL system and they are clubbed under the key value pair systems. But systems like Dynamo, Cassandra, Voldemort, React, they have a different semantics, they have a different interpretations, different guarantees compared to Mongo and Couch. It's a subtle difference you have to understand. So storing something internally through key value is different from a distributed key value store. So Dynamo, Cassandra, Voldemort, React are more a distributed key value store systems through which you actually take on, take on write scaling. It's a subtle difference, so that's something you should not just classify everything under one NoSQL system. So where do they give you a lot of advantages? This is a traditional flow. You have your web tier, you have your app tiers, you have your database. Whatever principles we talked, I mean, we know how to scale the web tier. It's just, adding more HTTP server boxes, assuming you've optimized everything per request. Same thing on the app tier, right? So it's like you're running an optimized performance per request. Then all you have to do is to add more nodes to it. But then the difficulty comes in when you're trying to scale your database, right? So so some of these systems, especially NoSQL systems, help you to do read scaling. Write scaling. That's where Voldemort, Cassandra, Dynamo comes in. So the last thing I want to talk about is testing and monitoring. So you have to, when you're building scale, when you're building high throughput systems, this is something that you have to do. So you have to replicate live use cases. You have to ping your systems with live amount of data, live traffic data, if possible. Take a percentage of traffic and see how your systems react. We have something called load and performance testing, where we figure out what is the difference between this release versus previous release, where how is the SLA doing for this particular call from this release to previous release, and you start digging deep into the low level calls and figure out you are good within your SLA. I mean, it's tricky to do it for all use cases that you do it on live, but at least you should be able to do it for the most common use cases. And another paradigm that you have to do is you measure everything. So you try to measure everything. So at least you log everything that you can, and then discard logging data. Right? So this space at some level is cheap, so you can afford to write. That doesn't mean you retain all those data for a long time, but you can keep partitioning them and then remove the partitions that are not needed. But where it's very interesting is we have run into this on production as well. So when you're calling one service A invokes service B, the SLA is published SLA is 50 millisecond. Service A invokes B, it gets a response back at 100 millisecond. Service B internally is monitoring its own request and response. So it says, I got this request from service A this time, and then I gave a response back at this time. So my SLA is actually 40 millisecond. I've done an improved performance. But then why is service A, it's it's seeing 100 millisecond compared to 40 millisecond, and it's probably because something that you have in your data center, some network delay or the way that the network architecture is set up, something is wrong, right? So we were able to figure out some of these things. But what is critical is you have to do all this. Whenever possible, you try to do as much as you can. Just because you measure everything doesn't mean you have to monitor everything. What you monitor is what are some of your core needs. I mean, you try to monitor as much as you can, but then you are spread thin. So you try to measure as much as you can, but then monitor based on based on your needs. So not all services, like I said, not all data is equal. Similarly, not all services are equal. So to us, if the payment system goes down, it's extremely critical. If the settlement system goes down, it is critical, but not as critical as the pay system. So you have to have monitoring in place to figure out which systems are running and how good they are running, how is their SLAs, and publish their SLAs, not just the average, but the 95 percentile, and see where you are. These are some of the references. So as I said, none of this is really new. Everything is probably being talked about. You probably have read it someplace, or you have been involved in building systems that are doing this today. So a classic is Life Beyond Distributed Transaction by Pat Hadlin. So other one is Eventually Consistent by Vogel. Classic a paper on eventual consistency. And then a couple of other references on building scalable internet architecture. And we have one that Andy Sharp, when he was with the 5 years back. He talks about some of these principles as well. That's it. So thanks a lot. I'll try to take questions now. I'm not sure how it works, but I'll try